The insult came before Ava Langston even took her second step onto the tarmac. Pilot Cole Harrington, 47, tall, pale-skinned, broad-shouldered with a permanently sour expression, jabbed a finger toward her and barked, "You, yeah, you. Don't you dare touch these stairs. This jet isn't for strays, gold diggers, or whoever you're trying to impress with that bargain bin outfit." The ramp workers froze. The early morning sun painted the sleek silver fuselage of the LX-9 Falcon jet, her jet, with a warm glow, but Cole's voice sliced through the air like broken glass. Ava Langston, 36, black woman with warm brown skin and natural curls tied into a low bun, stood motionless. Her clothes were simple: dark jeans, white blouse, soft gray cardigan. Nothing that signaled she was the majority owner of the entire charter company. Cole sneered, pacing closer like she was trash someone left behind. "I swear, every week it's the same nonsense," he hissed. "Some influencer wannabe trying to sneak onto the jet for photos. We don't need charity cases using the stairs like a public bus." A few maintenance techs exchanged shocked glances, but none dared to interfere. Ava inhaled slowly. "Sir, Don't sir me," he snapped. "You think putting on lip gloss and rolling a suitcase means you belong here? Your kind always tries it, acting entitled, pretending to be important." Ava's jaw tightened. Her kind. Cole scoffed loudly, gesturing to her head to toe with insulting exaggeration. "Look at this! No stylist, no security detail, no badge, no elegance. And you expect me to believe you're a client?" He stepped closer, voice dropping into a colder, sharper register. "Not happening. This jet is a $10,000 an hour aircraft, not a rideshare. Go back to whichever side entrance you wandered out of." The cruelty was so loud that even passengers in the lounge window pressed against the glass. Ava swallowed the burn inside her throat. "I have a reservation." He burst out laughing, loud, mocking, vulgar. "Oh, that's adorable. Sweetheart, you can't reserve a jet like this. You couldn't even afford the fuel it would burn in 5 minutes. Next time you want to play rich girl fantasy, try a cheaper terminal." He snapped his fingers at airport security. 2 guards approached, uncertain. "Captain Harrington, what seems to be—" "Escort her off the ramp," Cole commanded. "She's trespassing, trying to scam her way into first-class air." A guard hesitated. Ava looked harmless, calm, even dignified, but Cole glared at them with the authority of a veteran pilot. Ava took a step forward, voice steady despite the tremor underneath. "Let me say my name. Just check the passenger." "Don't make me repeat myself," Cole exploded. "You are not stepping foot on my aircraft. You are not on the manifest. You do not belong anywhere near this jet." He pointed at her, suitcase with unfiltered disdain. "That cheap luggage is screaming it. Look at it. It's practically begging for a pawn shop. And you think you belong in a luxury jet cabin?" A tech across the ramp muttered under his breath, "Man, that's too far." But Cole ignored him. Ava's heart hammered. She was used to boardrooms, negotiations, quiet power, not public humiliation. But this was cruelty sharpened on class and dipped in racial contempt. Ava tried once more, voice shaking slightly. "Captain Harrington, I am done hearing from you." He cut her off. "Security, remove her now. This is a professional environment, not a charity parade." The guards moved in. Her cheeks burned. Her hands trembled. The entire terminal seemed to watch her shame. A security guard whispered, "Ma'am, maybe just step back. It's only going to escalate." Cole folded his arms smugly and said the sentence that shattered Ava's breath. "Women like you don't fly on jets like this. Get that through your head." Silence fell across the ramp. The cruelty, the arrogance, the assumption, every part of it was intentional. Ava blinked hard, forcing the tears to stay put. She lifted her chin, not as an owner, not as a wealthy entrepreneur, but as a woman refusing to fold. "I will leave," she whispered, "but you'll regret this. Cole smirked. I doubt it. Ava turned away. She walked back across the tarmac, each step slower, heavier. As she reached her car, she slipped into the back seat, closed the door, and finally let the tears spill. She reached into her bag, pulling out the travel Bible her mother had given her before she passed. A verse caught her eye, one she had underlined years ago. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God goes with you. Deuteronomy 31:6. Her breath steadied. The humiliation still throbbed, but a flame began to flicker beneath the pain. This wasn't over, not by a mile, not by a single runway. If you have ever been judged by how you look, then what happens next with Ava Langston will make you stand up out of your seat. Don't forget to like and subscribe and stay with Dignity Voices to follow her fight for justice. But humiliation was only the beginning, because Ava was about to discover what the pilot had been hiding all along. The car door shut with a soft thud, sealing Ava Langston inside the quiet interior. The tinted glass muted the outside world, the jet engines, the shouting, the sting of Cole Harrington's words, but the humiliation still vibrated in her bones. Ava, 36, black woman with warm brown skin and a calm, understated elegance, leaned back against the leather seat and pressed trembling fingers to her forehead. She had endured boardroom sabotage, investor skepticism, industry discrimination, and whispers that she didn't look like a CEO. But nothing compared to the raw public cruelty she had just faced. Her driver, Malik, a soft-spoken man in his early 40s, glanced at her through the rearview mirror. Ms. Langston, are you all right? Ava forced a breath. Just drive, please. The car rolled forward, leaving behind the gleaming jet she owned, the tarmac where she had been shamed, and the crew who watched but didn't dare intervene. Ava's vision blurred. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, soft and steady. Baby, the world may try to shrink you, but God didn't make you small. Her mother had been gone 5 years, yet in moments like these, the loss felt freshly carved. She dug her nails into her palm, grounding herself. This shouldn't have happened. Not to her. Not again. Not after everything she built. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Another vibration, then another. Ava glanced at the screen. 3 missed calls from Vice President Olivia Trent, 2 texts from PR, and a voicemail from the Chief Operating Officer. The company already sensed the storm. She unlocked her phone and the screen lit with notifications. Trending. Woman kicked off jet she doesn't own. Private jet drama. Jet girl fails. Low pilot hero. Ava flinched. Someone had filmed it. Someone had posted it. And already strangers were mocking her humiliation. Her throat tightened, but her anger sharpened. She played the voicemail. Olivia's voice trembled more than usual. Ava, call me. Now. Before this spreads, we need context. PR is asking what happened. There's mention of Cole. Just call. Ava ended the message without replying. She clicked another, COO Jason Feldman, always cautious, always prioritizing brand optics. Ava, if this gets out of hand, the board will want answers. Please, manage this delicately. You know how these things look. How they look. A euphemism for, don't make the company look bad. Don't make me uncomfortable. Don't make this racial. Don't make this public. A familiar bitterness rose in her chest. Ava turned to Malik. Pull over. Just for a minute. He nodded and slowed onto the shoulder of the private road leading away from the terminal. The car idled. Ava opened her bag and pulled out the travel Bible again. The same verse stared at her. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Her heart steadied. She dialed Olivia. Olivia answered instantly. Ava, are you okay? I saw a clip. I wasn't sure if it was real. It's real, Ava said. And I need every record on Captain Cole Harrington. Every shift he's worked, every passenger incident, every internal complaint. Olivia hesitated. Ava, that might escalate. Good, Ava said sharply. I'm done being quiet. She hung up. Ava opened her laptop, tethered her phone's internet, and logged into the internal aircraft operations dashboard. Her fingers flew over the keys, cold, controlled, laser-focused. She searched for Cole's history. Access denied. Files archived. Privilege level clearance required. Ava stared at the screen. Privileged? She was the majority owner. Her jaw clenched. She tried another angle. Archived customer complaints. Restricted. She tried again through the safety review portal. Restricted. Finally, she accessed an older administrative folder, one she'd built years ago before she delegated permissions. And that's when she found it. Hidden, buried, poorly renamed, but not erased. A folder labeled Old Docs 522 Do Not Use. She clicked it. Inside, a half-dozen PDFs, a handful of internal notes, a grievance file. Her breath caught. 3 formal complaints over 2 years. Pilot refused to fly because passenger looked suspicious. Pilot claimed safety issues only when black families boarded. Pilot denied boarding to client, later found to be a partner investor. Her stomach twisted. As she scrolled, her phone buzzed again. A text from PR. Ava, please advise. Video reaching 150K views. Media asking for comment. Another text from an unknown number. You should have dressed better. You made the pilot look bad. Ava's eyes burned with fury. She pressed a hand to her chest, steadying the tremor of rage, shame, and rising determination. Then she whispered to herself, "Enough." She took one long breath. "Malik," she said quietly. "Yes, ma'am?" "Drive me to the headquarters hangar." Malik hesitated. "Are you sure? You need rest." "No," Ava said softly. "I need answers." She dialed Olivia again. "Liv, assemble legal, HR, and operations. Quietly. No board members, no press, just internal." Olivia lowered her voice. "Ava, this is war." "No," Ava corrected. "This is truth." As the car pulled back onto the road, Ava looked through the tinted window at the jet disappearing behind her. Her jet, her company, her life's work, and a man who thought she didn't belong. He thought she was powerless. He had no idea who he had just humiliated. The flames of humiliation hardened into a blade of purpose. Ava whispered the verse again, this time with steel behind the words. "For the Lord your God goes with you." She lifted her chin. The headquarters hangar sat on the far end of the private airport. Quiet, cavernous, humming with the faint echo of turbines cooling after morning test flights. Ava Langston stepped out of the car with a steadiness that belied the storm inside her chest. Her humiliation still clung to her skin, but beneath it pulsed something stronger, sharper. Resolve. She walked across the polished concrete floor toward her private office overlooking the airfield. Mechanics nodded respectfully as she passed, unaware of what had happened just hours earlier. Inside, Ava closed the door, exhaled shakily, and powered on her workstation. The display lit up, bathing her face in a cold electric glow. Cole Harrington's personnel file appeared, instantly, but it was bare, too bare. A sanitized resume, a clean flight record, no complaints, no warnings, no disciplinary history. That told her everything she needed to know. Someone had wiped his file. 1. The patterns beneath the surface. Ava clicked into archived data logs, using old admin codes she hadn't touched in months. Dozens of folders flashed up, old audits, outdated training modules, abandoned software backups. She sifted through the digital dust for nearly an hour. Then she found it. A legacy database no one had deleted because no one remembered it existed. She opened it. Rows of entries filled the screen, untouched, unedited, unpurged. Complaints, incidents, internal reports, anonymous notes, all tied to Cole Harrington. A cold weight settled in Ava's stomach. Complaint number 143. Pilot refused boarding to paying client. Justification unclear. Complaint number 202. Pilot claims safety issues only when passenger is a person of color. Complaint number 287. Pilot stated he doesn't feel comfortable flying certain types of passengers. Ava scrolled further. She found emails, sarcastic, dismissive, targeted. One from Cole to another pilot. I'm not flying that crowd. Let dispatch pawn them off on someone desperate for hours. Another. These new investors think this place is a charity. If I wanted to fly Uber passengers, I'd get a second job. Another. I swear, one of these days, someone high up will try to sneak onto the jet looking like a stray. I'll shut it down real quick. The words stabbed deep. He wasn't just cruel. He was calculating, predictable, comfortable in his prejudice, and protected. She rubbed her temples, breath trembling. This wasn't a one-time humiliation. This was a pattern, a sickness hiding in her company. A knock sounded on the door. Ava, it's me, Olivia called. Come in. 2. Olivia's warning. Olivia Trent, 40, Latina, sharp-featured with dark hair pulled into a tight bun, entered with a laptop pressed to her chest and worry etched across her face. You saw the video? Ava asked quietly. Olivia grimaced. Everyone has. It's spreading by the minute. PR is panicking. Ava turned her monitor toward Olivia. What about this? She asked. Did anyone on the board mention these? Olivia leaned in, eyes widening as she scrolled. Oh my God, these are serious. Why weren't these escalated? Why weren't they in his personnel file? Ava's voice dropped. Because someone didn't want them in there. Olivia swallowed. This is bad. If this is true, we're not dealing with one pilot, we're dealing with a cover-up. Ava shut her eyes. Exactly. And you're going to confront them? Olivia asked. Ava didn't answer immediately. She looked out the window at the hangar floor, at the workers repairing engines, at the shining planes she had poured her soul into. Then she spoke softly. I built this company to give people opportunities, not strip them of dignity. Olivia placed a hand on her shoulder. Then you need to be careful. If someone protected him, they might try to bury all of this again. Ava nodded. That's why I'm moving fast. 3. The hidden witness. A soft knock interrupted them. A young ground technician, a thin, nervous-looking man in his 20s wearing an orange safety vest, peeked through the door. Sorry, Ms. Langston? I was told to bring these. He held a small box of old logbooks and flight manifests. Ava frowned. Who told you? He hesitated. No one, ma'am. I just thought you might want them, after what I saw this morning. Ava's breath hitched. You were there? She asked. The young man nodded. I saw everything, and I've seen Captain Harrington talk like that before, not just today. Ava exchanged a glance with Olivia. Come in, she said gently. Close the door. The young man stepped forward. He opened the box. Inside were handwritten notes, maintenance logs, and printed complaint forms, some with Cole's signature, others with technicians' reports. And then he pulled out something else, a small data chip. Ma'am, I kept backups. Whenever logs were modified, I made personal copies. I wasn't sure who I could trust. But after today, I know who needed them. Ava stared at him, speechless. He lowered his head. Please don't fire me for doing this. Ava blinked back emotion. I would never. You did the right thing. 4. The Bible verse of endurance. As the young tech left, Ava pressed her palm over the tiny data chip, its edges rough, its weight insignificant, but its value enormous. She whispered, This is what truth looks like. Then she opened her Bible again, searching, not for courage, not for calm, but for strength to endure the war ahead. Her eyes landed on a verse she hadn't touched in years. And let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Galatians 6:9. A slow breath left her chest. This wasn't the time to cave, not when the truth was finally in her hands. 5. The turning point that sets up scene. 4. Ava turned to Olivia with steel in her eyes. I'm calling a meeting, Ava said. Not with the whole board yet, just the people who need to answer for this. Olivia nodded grimly. Who first? Everyone who touched Cole's file, Ava said. Everyone who approved his flights, everyone who buried complaints. Ava stood, shoulders squared. No more hiding. Olivia exhaled. This is going to shake the entire company. Ava's voice was quiet but unwavering. Good. From outside, jet engines roared as another Falcon jet took off, sleek, powerful, ascending. Ava stared at it, a reflection of what she was about to become. The investigation had officially begun, and she wasn't turning back. If you've ever uncovered a truth someone tried to bury, then what Ava finds next will send chills down your spine. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Dignity Voices to follow her fight for justice. Because the deeper Ava dug, the more she realized the betrayal was coming from inside her own circle. The conference room on the 6th floor was usually a place of polished presentations, quarterly projections, contract signatures, celebratory champagne after landing new clients. Today, however, it felt colder, darker, like the air itself was waiting for something explosive. Ava Langston entered quietly, her face composed but unreadable. She had spent the last 6 hours reviewing the data chip the young technician handed her, logs, deleted entries, manipulated reports, suppressed complaints. The deeper she read, the tighter her chest became. Someone had protected Cole Harrington, someone high enough to access digital archives, someone who knew exactly what they were erasing. As she stepped into the room, 3 people waited. Jason Feldman, COO, mid-50s, white, polished, perpetually anxious. Sarah Weller, HR lead, early 40s, composed but visibly nervous. Brent Calloway, director of operations, late 30s, ambitious, smooth-talking. All 3 rose when Ava entered, more out of habit than respect. Ava, Jason said with a strained smile, we're glad you called this meeting. We need to discuss the situation from this morning. She sat. Let's discuss everything. Jason cleared his throat. Yes, well, the video isn't great. Media is circling. We need a unified response. Something neutral. Something that avoids escalating tensions. Ava kept her eyes on him. Tensions. Meaning liability? Or the truth? Jason hesitated. Optics matter. A public confrontation between a pilot and a black woman? Ava finished for him, her tone calm but cutting. Jason blanched. I didn't mean, yes, Ava said. You did. The room fell silent. Sarah interlaced her fingers, choosing her words carefully. Ava, we want to help, but Cole is a senior pilot. He has an excellent public record. No incidents, no substantiated complaints. Nothing official we can use to justify disciplinary action. Ava leaned forward slowly, placing her laptop on the table. That's the problem, she said. His public record is spotless because someone made it spotless. Brent shifted uncomfortably. What exactly are you implying? Ava clicked her trackpad. The screen lit up with a folder. Old complaints, dated and time-stamped, proof that Cole's record was anything but clean. But the expressions around the table didn't change to shock. They changed to dread. Jason rubbed his forehead. Ava, where did you find that? In a system no one bothered to delete because they assumed I wouldn't look, she said. Her voice was soft, but steel-threaded. I want to know who archived these, who removed these from his file, who overrode HR's protocols, who approved his continued flights after multiple red flags. Sarah swallowed. Ava, I can explain. Ava's gaze locked onto her. Then explain. The HR director hesitated. Some complaints were vague, hard to substantiate. Passengers sometimes exaggerate, and Cole is very popular with high-profile clients. Ava cut her off gently. Say what you mean. Sarah's voice dropped. We didn't want to provoke him. Ava's heart tightened. You were afraid of him? No, Sarah said quickly. We were afraid of losing him. He threatened to leave a few times. He said he had offers from other charter companies. He implied that if we pushed him too hard, he'd go public about internal mismanagement. Ava stared at her. You feared his mouth more than you respected your client's dignity? Jason tapped the table nervously. Ava, listen. Cole may be abrasive, but he brings in revenue. Investors love him. He knows the aircraft models better than any pilot in our fleet. Losing him would have been... Losing him? Ava repeated. He humiliated me on my own property, in front of staff, in front of passengers, because he assumed a black woman didn't belong. Jason shifted. Ava, we didn't know it was you. A quiet, bitter laugh escaped her. Would it have mattered if it wasn't? No one answered. Ava stood and walked to the window, staring at the hangar outside. A jet lifted off, slicing through the morning sky. She imagined herself in that cabin, where she should have been, not down here cleaning up a mess she didn't create. Behind her, Brent spoke quietly. Ava, you need to think carefully. We all know the board. They don't like scandals. They don't like confrontation. If you go after Cole publicly, they may push back. Ava turned slowly. Push back against me? Or against what he did? Brent's expression hinted at the truth neither of them wanted to say aloud. Jason stepped in again. We're advising you to be strategic, calm, measured. The board might request a private apology from Cole, a statement, something soft, something that keeps us out of headlines. Ava stared at him. A private apology, she repeated, for public humiliation. Jason nodded uncomfortably. It would help us move past this. Ava closed her eyes for a long moment. When she opened them, the softness was gone. You think the solution is for me to swallow this quietly, again, like every woman of color who's ever been told to stay calm while being degraded. Brent's jaw tightened. Ava, that's not what we meant. It's exactly what you meant, she said. The air seemed to still around her. She reached into her bag and gently placed her mother's Bible on the table. Her voice steady, she spoke. Do you know what this book teaches? It teaches that the truth doesn't bow to convenience. It teaches that justice isn't something you request politely. Then, almost under her breath, she murmured a verse she had been turning over in her heart since morning. For the Lord loves justice and will not forsake his faithful ones. When she looked up again, her eyes were glimmering, not with tears, but with fire. Here's what's going to happen. I'm calling a full internal review. Every file Cole touched, every complaint HR buried, every override operations approved. I want it all on my desk before morning. Jason stiffened. Ava, the board won't like that. Ava smiled faintly. Then they can fire me. But they won't. Brent straightened, tension rippling across his face. You're risking everything. No, Ava said softly. I'm protecting everything. She gathered her laptop, Bible, and the small data chip, then walked to the door. Before she left, she paused. One more thing, she said without turning back. I am not scared of Cole Harrington, and I am definitely not scared of the people who protected him. The door clicked shut behind her. The war had begun, and Ava had just taken her first swing. The hangar was unusually quiet, too quiet for mid-afternoon. Most of the crews were out on test flights or assisting maintenance on the far side of the airfield. Only a handful of engineers remained, their voices echoing faintly in the vast chamber like whispers bouncing against steel. Ava Langston stepped inside with the young technician who'd brought her the box of saved records. Eli Ramos, 23, sharp-eyed, nervous, but courageous beyond his years. He walked with the jittery steps of someone who knew he was helping expose something dangerous. Ava carried a tablet loaded with the restored files. In her other hand was the small data chip, evidence more valuable than any weapon. Thank you again for coming, Ava said quietly. Eli swallowed hard. Yes, ma'am. I know it's risky, but somebody had to say something. Ava studied him with a softness reserved only for those she respected deeply. You did the right thing, and you're not alone anymore. They approached a private corner of the hangar where two others waited. Tanya Brooks, mid-30s, black woman, former flight crew member who left months ago under mysterious circumstances. Miguel Alvarez, early 40s, veteran flight engineer, one of the few who dared speak against Cole off record. Their faces were tense, wary, but full of a desperate hope. Ava greeted them warmly. Thank you both for being willing to talk. Tanya glanced around. I can't stay long. If anyone sees me talking to you, they'll know why. Miguel nodded grimly. Cole's got friends everywhere. People loyal to him. People scared of him. Ava took a deep breath and placed the tablet on a portable work table. Let's talk, she said. Tanya was the first to step forward. Her voice shook just a little. I filed 2 complaints about him last year. He ignored pre-flight safety checks when he didn't like certain clients. But the moment a wealthy white client boarded, he'd suddenly care. Ava nodded slowly. And HR told you, what? Tanya's eyes hardened. That I was misinterpreting his leadership style. That I needed to adjust my expectations. That he didn't mean it the way it sounded. She shook her head bitterly. That man talked to us like we were furniture, or worse. Miguel sighed deeply. He's been like that for years. I've seen him deny flights for no reason. I've seen him make passengers wait until he felt they were worthy. He once grounded a jet because he didn't like the look of a woman's hair. Ava closed her eyes for a moment. The humiliation she endured this morning suddenly felt like only one piece of a much larger sickness. Miguel leaned closer. Ava, people tried to speak up, but every time the complaints went missing, or someone forgot to process them. Ava looked at Eli. You said you kept backups. Did you know about all this? Eli nodded shyly. I heard things, ma'am. Saw things. I didn't know the full truth, but I knew something wasn't right. Ava placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. You did more than enough. The 4 of them stood around the work table, the air heavy with truth and grief and anger. Ava tapped the tablet. The screen displayed total suppressed complaints, 42 total altered logs, 19 total passengers affected, 27. Tanya gasped. Miguel swore under his breath. Eli stared like the numbers were knives. Ava felt something shift inside her, something deep, righteous, unshakable. This isn't just misconduct, she said. This is corruption. This is discrimination. This is systemic. Her voice trembled for the first time, not with weakness, but with rage held under iron control. And it ends now. A silence settled around them, thick with gravity. Miguel stepped closer. What are you going to do? Ava breathed in, slow, steady. I'm calling a full company safety briefing tomorrow morning, she said. Everyone will be there. Pilots, crew, staff, supervisors, and Cole. Tanya's eyes widened. Why a safety briefing? Ava's lips curved into a slow, calculated smile. Because no one questions a safety briefing. Everyone attends, and cameras are always rolling. Eli blinked. Cameras? Yes, Ava said simply. And tomorrow, when Cole walks into that hangar, he won't be meeting the scared, humiliated woman he thought he was talking down to at the tarmac. Miguel nodded in realization. You're going to reveal who you are. Ava didn't hesitate. I'm going to reveal everything. Tanya exhaled shakily. Ava, this could shake the entire foundation of the company. That's the point, Ava replied, softly. She reached into her bag and pulled out her mother's Bible. She opened it, not searching randomly, but flipping to a page she already knew by heart. Her fingers traced the verse gently. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. She breathed those words as if stitching them into her spine. When she looked up again, She wasn't just Ava Langston, businesswoman. She was Ava Langston, daughter of a praying mother. Ava Langston, woman of unshakable dignity. Ava Langston, owner of the jet she'd been pushed away from. Ava Langston, warrior stepping into the storm. "I'm not afraid of what tomorrow brings," she said quietly, "because the truth is on our side." Tanya wiped a tear. Miguel nodded with renewed courage. Eli straightened his back. Ava turned off the tablet and pocketed the chip. "Tomorrow," she said, "we stop hiding. We stop whispering. We stop letting men like Cole dictate who belongs in the sky." She looked each of them in the eyes. "Tomorrow, we speak the truth out loud." The hangar door groaned as a mechanic rolled in a tool cart, the metal screech echoing through the cavernous space, like a distant drum announcing the coming battle. Ava squared her shoulders. The moment she'd been humiliated, rejected, and dismissed was about to become the moment she took everything back. And this time, the entire company would be watching. If you've ever prepared for a battle you didn't choose, what Ava does next will make your heart pound. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Dignity Voices to follow her unstoppable fight for justice. Because when the sun rose the next morning, Ava didn't just walk into the hangar. She walked into her own reckoning. The next morning broke with a thin veil of silver clouds stretching over the runway, casting a muted glow across the airfield. But inside the main hangar, everything crackled with tension. Rows of chairs had been arranged facing a large retractable screen. Mechanics in oil-stained uniforms, flight attendants in crisp navy, pilots in full regalia, supervisors, dispatchers, engineers. Everyone had received mandatory notice. Company-wide safety briefing. All staff required. Attendance will be recorded. No one questioned it. No one suspected the truth. They whispered among themselves, wondering why the sudden urgency, why the corporate tone felt different, why Ava Langston, their elusive majority owner, had issued the order herself. Most employees had never seen her in person. Some didn't even know what she looked like. Meanwhile, in a small glass office overlooking the hangar floor, Ava stood alone. She stared at her reflection in the glass. Steady eyes, poised shoulders, an expression carved from quiet fire. She wore a fitted charcoal suit, her natural curls styled back, her presence unmistakably authoritative. Eli, Tanya, and Miguel waited outside the office doors like a protective formation. Their rojo faces revealed a mix of pride, nerves, and anticipation, protectors standing at the threshold of truth. Ava took one slow breath. This is the moment her mother prayed she would one day walk into with courage. Then she stepped out. Her heels clicked against the platform stairs as she descended. A hush swept through the hangar, first a whisper, then a wave, then a silence so thick it swallowed the air. People who had chuckled at the viral video stumbled into realization. People who had assumed she was just staff straightened in their seats. People who had never looked twice at her now couldn't look away. Ava approached the podium with a calmness that didn't match the thunder in her chest. She rested her hands lightly on the wooden surface. "Good morning," she began. Her voice carried, steady and unwavering. No one responded. No one dared. She scanned the room. Pilots sat rigid. Engineers leaned forward. Crew members held their breath. Then her eyes found him. Cole Harrington. He reclined in his chair, one leg crossed, smirking slightly, as if still basking in the authority he wielded like a weapon. His uniform was pressed to perfection, his badge gleaming, his arrogance almost glowing. He didn't look nervous. Why would he? He thought he knew who she was. He still didn't know what she was. Ava lifted her chin. "Before we begin today's safety briefing," she said calmly, "there is something I need to address." The lights dimmed. The screen illuminated behind her with a grainy still image from the viral video. The tarmac, the stairs of the LX-9 Falcon jet, and Ava standing at the bottom while Cole's arm was extended toward her in refusal. Murmurs rippled. Cole stiffened. Ava let the silence grow. "Yesterday," she said, I was denied boarding on one of our aircraft. I was mocked, insulted, and humiliated in front of passengers and staff. Her eyes never left Cole. And all because the pilot decided I didn't look like someone who belonged. The whispers turned into gasps. Cole rose slightly from his seat. "Excuse me?" "You will not speak," Ava said, her voice slicing the air sharper than anything he had thrown at her. Cole froze. Ava clicked to the next slide, audio footage from an old complaint. Cole's voice filled the hangar. "I'm not flying that crowd. Let dispatch pawn them off on someone desperate for hours." The next slide, another recording. "Passengers like that always cause problems. I'm not wasting my time." The next, a written complaint. The next, a flight attendant's testimony. The next, a safety report altered to hide misconduct. The evidence unfolded, one truth after another, like a storm breaking through steel. Cole's face drained of color. He tried again, louder. "This is taken out of context." Ava's glare shut him down. Then she clicked to a blank slide, and she spoke the words that detonated in the room like thunder. "My name is Ava Langston. I am the majority owner of this company, and yesterday I was denied boarding on my own jet." Shock slammed the hangar like a physical force. Mouths fell open, hands flew to faces, chairs scraped. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Someone else muttered, "He's finished." Cole's lips moved soundlessly. No words, no defenses, no arrogance left to hide behind. Ava wasn't done. She held up the data chip. Everything he tried to bury, someone brave saved. She gestured toward Eli, who stood at the corner of the hangar, eyes wide but resolute. Staff turned to look at him, awe rising in the room. Then Ava addressed everyone. "For years, this company has allowed misconduct, allowed complaints to vanish, allowed discrimination to wear a uniform with wings." She stepped forward. "That ends today." Cole staggered to his feet, voice hoarse with disbelief. You can't fire me. I'm the highest-rated pilot you have. The board needs me. The clients need me. I built this reputation." Ava stared at him. "You built fear, not excellence." He pointed shakily at her. "You set me up. You walked on that jet without proper identification. You humiliated the woman who pays your salary," Ava said. "And worse, you humiliated passengers, crew, and colleagues who trusted this company to protect them." Cole looked around desperately. "Someone defend me! I've flown with half of you. You know me." But no one moved. No one spoke. No one stood with him. The empire he believed he controlled had evaporated. He was alone. Ava's voice echoed through the hangar. "Cole Harrington, your employment with this company is terminated effective immediately." A single gasp cut the room. Cole's mouth hung open. He stumbled backward like someone had struck him. "Security," Ava said. "Please escort Mr. Harrington off the premises." Two guards stepped forward. As they approached, Cole muttered one final line, the last dying breath of his arrogance. "You'll regret this. This whole company will regret this." Ava didn't even blink. "No," she said quietly. "We'll heal from this." Ava turned back to the crowd. "I started this company to open the sky, not close it. To create space for people who were told they didn't belong. From this moment forward, we are rewriting every policy. No more discrimination, no more buried complaints, no more fear." Heads nodded, eyes shone, people exhaled. It was as if a weight had lifted off the entire hangar. Ava placed her hand on the podium and spoke one last verse, steady, powerful, resonant. "The truth shall make you free." John 8:32. The room absorbed the words like sunlight. She looked out at her staff, her people, and said, "Let's rebuild this place the way it should have been from the beginning." The hangar erupted into applause, raw, emotional, thunderous. Ava didn't smile, but inside her chest, something broke open. Not rage, not grief, not humiliation, victory. The kind that wasn't loud, but changed everything. The hangar was still vibrating with aftershocks of applause when Ava Langston walked away from the podium. She felt the weight of 100 eyes on her, some admiring, some stunned, some finally exhaling years of silent frustration. Cole Harrington had been escorted out minutes earlier, screaming protests the entire way. His voice had faded into the distance, swallowed by the cavernous walls of the hangar. It was over for him. But for Ava, the work had only begun. She walked toward the cluster of supervisors, engineers, and senior staff who had gathered near the side of the hangar. The tension had shifted, no longer fear and silence, but anticipation, a sense of possibility. "Ms. Langston," Operations Director Brent Calloway began, his tone cautious. That was decisive. "Necessary," Ava corrected. Her voice held neither triumph nor gloating, just clarity. "What happens now?" Sarah from HR asked, her face pale. She looked simultaneously relieved and terrified, like a person suddenly aware of how much damage they had quietly enabled. Ava inhaled slowly, letting her gaze sweep the room. "Now we rebuild," she said, "but not on sunken ground. We rebuild on truth." She motioned for Olivia to join her at the front. "We're initiating a full review of flight crew conduct," Ava announced. "Every complaint, every disputed report, every time someone said something felt wrong and nobody listened." A wave of murmurs rippled across the staff. Miguel stepped forward. "Ma'am, I'm willing to testify about everything. What we saw, what we were told to ignore." Ava nodded deeply. "Your voice matters now." Tanya stepped up. "I'm willing too. I kept emails, screenshots, notes." Ava reached out, giving her a gentle squeeze on the arm. "Thank you. This is what courage looks like." Sarah spoke quietly. "I want to help too. I should have done better." "It's not too late," Ava said. "Do better now." Her voice wasn't harsh. It wasn't forgiving either. It was resolute, offering a chance, not erasing accountability. Ava turned again to the rest of the room. "This company was built to open the skies," she said. "But somewhere along the way, people who looked like me, like Tanya, like Eli, like Miguel, were made to feel like outsiders. That ends today." Heads nodded. Some bowed. A few cried silently. Ava looked toward the far door where a young woman stood, half hidden behind a group of mechanics. Captain Naomi Carter, 31, black woman, sharp features, short natural curls, eyes bright with intelligence. Cole had blocked her promotion for over a year, said she wasn't ready, said she didn't command pilot presence, said she made certain clients uncomfortable. Ava stepped toward her. "Captain Carter?" she said loud enough for all to hear. Naomi stiffened. "Yes, ma'am? Would you join me up front?" Naomi hesitated, then walked forward, unsure of what to expect. Ava smiled softly. "Yesterday morning I was denied boarding on my own jet. Today I'd like to correct an even older wrong." She turned to the crowd. "Effective immediately, Captain Naomi Carter will take command of the LX-9 Falcon jet fleet." The hangar erupted. Cheers, applause, shouts of support so loud they shook the walls. Naomi covered her face, overwhelmed, tears spilling through her fingers. I don't know what to say." "Then say nothing," Ava whispered. "Just fly." Naomi embraced her, the whole hangar erupting around them. After the applause faded, Ava gathered the supervisors and senior staff into a circle. "No more silence," she said. "No more fear of speaking up. If any employee is mistreated by a pilot, crew member, or executive, they come straight to me. No more file deletions, no more cover-ups." Sarah winced. "I'm still responsible for what happened. I allowed a culture of avoidance." Ava met her eyes. "Responsibility isn't punishment," she said. "It's the first step to restoring integrity." Sarah nodded, tears forming. "Thank you for giving me another chance." Ava didn't confirm or deny forgiveness. It wasn't time yet. Accountability came before peace. The atmosphere settled, a collective breath of relief sweeping the hangar. Ava reached into her blazer and touched her mother's Bible, her anchor, her reminder of what truth was supposed to sound like. She spoke the verse aloud, her voice resonant enough for everyone to hear. "For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him." Isaiah 30:18. Heads bowed across the hangar, a few hands pressed to hearts. Even the toughest engineers felt the weight of it. This wasn't just a corporate correction. It was a spiritual reset, a cleansing. Ava stepped back toward the podium one last time. "We fly differently from today forward," she declared. "Not just in the air, but down here, on the ground, where respect takes off first." She glanced at Naomi, at Eli, at Tanya and Miguel, faces reflecting pride, relief, healing. "And tomorrow," Ava continued, "we launch our first flight under new leadership, a flight that represents the sky we should have always soared in." The staff rose in applause once more. Ava didn't bask in it. She let it wash around her while she closed her eyes briefly. She could almost hear her mother's voice. "Baby, the sky was always yours." As people began dispersing, pilots shaking Naomi's hand, engineers congratulating each other, Ava stood alone for a moment near the wing of a parked jet. She touched the cold metal gently, whispering to herself, "This is what justice feels like." The humiliation from the tarmac no longer burned. Instead, it formed the foundation of something unbreakable. The company was no longer Cole's playground. It was hers. It always had been. And tomorrow, she would step onto that jet not as a victim, not as a shareholder, but as the woman who reclaimed her sky. The next morning dawned warm and golden, the kind of sky that looked hand-painted by grace. The LX-9 Falcon jet rested on the private runway like a silver arrow waiting to be released. Ava Langston stood at the base of the aircraft stairs, the very same stairs she'd been denied just 48 hours earlier. But today, everything was different. Crew members lined the runway edges, watching silently, respectfully. Engineers nodded at her with a pride they didn't dare speak aloud. Flight attendants smiled, some with trembling lips, some with tear-stained eyes. News of Cole's firing had already rippled through the aviation world, and so had the news of Ava's true identity. Ava touched the railing, feeling no sting of humiliation this time, only a quiet, powerful return. Captain Naomi Carter appeared at the top of the stairs, uniform crisp, posture straight, eyes glimmering. "Ms. Langston," she called down warmly, "your aircraft is ready." Ava smiled. "Thank you, Captain." She climbed the steps slowly, savoring each one. Steps she had earned, steps she owned, steps she was never supposed to fear again. Inside, the cabin glowed with soft, natural light. Leather seats, polished wood, quiet luxury, familiar, but somehow reborn. Naomi took her place in the cockpit. Ava sat in the forward lounge, resting her palm on the window as the morning breeze brushed the fuselage. "Cabin secure," Naomi's voice came through gently. "Ready for departure." Ava closed her eyes for a moment, breathing in the scent of jet fuel and renewal. She whispered softly, just to herself, just to the memory of her mother. "Thank you for giving me my sky back." The engines roared to life. The runway stretched out ahead. Naomi eased the jet forward. As the aircraft lifted gracefully into the air, Ava felt something she hadn't felt since childhood, a feeling that the world was both vast and reachable, that no ceiling could contain her, that no pilot, no prejudice, no corrupt system had the final say over her destiny. From the window, the city shrank into soft outlines, and the clouds drifted like cotton paths to somewhere brighter. Ava opened the travel Bible in her lap. A verse she hadn't planned to read caught her eye. "Those who trust in the Lord will soar on wings like eagles." A slow, peaceful smile curved her lips. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was fighting gravity. She felt like she was flying. At cruising altitude, Naomi unlatched the cockpit door and stepped out. "Ms. Langston," she said softly, "thank you." For everything. Ava shook her head. You earned this seat long before I ever sat in mine. Naomi blinked back tears. I'll make you proud every single day. You already have, Ava replied. The jet floated through sunlight, quiet, pure, full of promise. Ava leaned back, letting the weight of the past dissolve into the clouds below. Her humiliation had become her testimony. Her silence had become her strength. Her sky, stolen temporarily, had been reclaimed, and she would make sure no one else was ever denied theirs again. Ava Langston's journey wasn't just about firing a corrupt pilot or restoring her dignity. It was about rewriting the culture of an entire company, and more importantly, reshaping the narratives of people who had been told their whole lives they didn't belong in certain rooms, certain boardrooms, certain cabins, or certain skies. Her story teaches a powerful truth. Sometimes the greatest battles are fought quietly, painfully, and publicly. But the victories echo far beyond the moment. Ava overcame humiliation with courage, injustice with truth, and betrayal with integrity. She discovered that God's justice does not always come quickly, but it comes surely. And when it does, it restores more than what was stolen. Her mother's Bible had whispered it from the start. Stand firm. The Lord is with you in the rooms where others try to drown out your voice. Ava rose, not by shouting but by standing, and because she stood, others rose with her. If this story moved you, if you've ever faced injustice and kept your faith alive, then make sure you like this video, share it, and subscribe to Dignity Voices for more powerful stories of resilience, justice, and God's unshakable grace.